John Cena has tapped out.
Welcome to the show, WWE Nation. This is SmackDown Spotlight, your update center for matches and news. Hit that bell, and let's begin. John Cena's final WWE match was never destined to be ordinary, but few expected it to feel this purposeful. When WWE paired him with Gunther, the message was immediate. This farewell would not rely on nostalgia alone. It would demand effort, credibility, and meaning. Cena's last stand wasn't framed as a victory lap or a sentimental exhibition. It was positioned as a true test against the embodiment of WWE's present-day standard. What unfolded inside the ring wasn't just a match, but a carefully constructed statement about legacy, respect, and continuity. This was a goodbye that looked forward as much as it looked back. In an industry often criticized for clinging to the past, Cena's final chapter chose a different path, one rooted in competition, dignity, and a clean ending that allowed history and the future to coexist. A farewell that reframed the moment. When WWE officially announced John Cena's final match, the tone across the company shifted immediately. This wasn't another retirement tease or temporary goodbye. It felt final in a way that resonated deeply with fans and performers alike. Cena wasn't just stepping away from the ring. He was closing a chapter that spanned multiple eras of WWE. His presence had shaped how heroes were defined, how perseverance was marketed, and how fans emotionally connected to the product. The farewell carried gravity because it wasn't rushed. WWE treated it as a landmark moment, signaling that this match would matter, not just tonight, but in the company's long-term history. Choosing meaning over nostalgia. Instead of leaning on an old rival or a feel-good reunion, WWE made a deliberate creative choice. They introduced the Last Time Is Now tournament, a structure that added legitimacy rather than convenience. This wasn't about giving Cena a friendly opponent or an easy storyline. It was about earning the moment. Wrestlers across brands competed, knowing the prize was not gold, but history itself. When Gunther emerged as the winner, the tone of Cena's farewell became clear. This would be grounded in realism, not sentiment. WWE signaled that Cena's last match would reflect the present standard of excellence, not just celebrate the past. Why Gunther was the perfect opponent. Gunther represents everything modern WWE values in ring. Discipline, precision, authority. His dominance is built on credibility rather than spectacle. Pairing him with Cena created a natural philosophical contrast. Cena's career was defined by connection, resilience, and belief. Gunther's rise has been defined by control and inevitability. This wasn't about good versus evil or personal animosity. It was about eras colliding respectfully. WWE didn't frame the match as a rivalry. It framed it as a measuring stick. Could legacy still stand tall against the present without shortcuts or protection? That question alone made the match compelling. An atmosphere heavy with history. The choice of venue amplified the emotion. Washington, D.C. wasn't selected at random. The arena felt like a stage for reflection rather than spectacle. Fans arrived knowing they were part of something irreversible. Every reaction carried weight. Chants felt louder, silence felt heavier. This wasn't just another premium live event crowd, it was a collective gathering to witness the end of an era. WWE leaned into that atmosphere, allowing moments to breathe instead of rushing them. The result was an environment where every movement, every exchange felt significant. 5. When the match began, reality took over. Once the bell rang, sentimentality disappeared. Cena didn't wrestle like a legend being honored. He wrestled like a competitor with something to prove. Gunther imposed his usual physical authority immediately, grounding the match in realism. Every chop, every hold carried intent. Cena responded with experience and timing rather than speed, blending classic offense with strategic pacing. This wasn't about highlight reels. It was about credibility. WWE allowed both men to look strong without exaggeration. The match felt earned because nothing about it was rushed or protected. The emotional power of momentum shifts. As the match progressed, the crowd became emotionally invested in every momentum swing. Cena's comebacks weren't guaranteed. They felt earned and fragile. Each surge of offense reignited belief, while every Gunther counter threatened finality. Near falls became emotional checkpoints, forcing fans to confront the reality that this could truly be the end. WWE didn't overbook these moments. They trusted the audience's connection to Cena and let the struggle speak for itself. The tension didn't come from chaos. It came from restraint, and that made it more powerful. A finish that felt honest. The closing moments of John Cena's final match succeeded because they resisted the temptation to overreach. There were no dramatic camera tricks, no sudden interference, and no exaggerated last-second twists designed to force emotion. Instead, the match concluded the same way it had unfolded from the opening bell: grounded, physical, and sincere. Both Cena and Gunther were visibly worn down, their exhaustion reading as authentic rather than theatrical. Every movement felt heavy, every strike deliberate. Gunther pressed forward with the same relentless focus that defines his identity, refusing to slow down even as fatigue set in. Cena, meanwhile, reached into the well that had sustained his career for decades, resilience born from adversity, belief, and refusal to quit. When the opening finally appeared, it didn't feel manufactured. It felt earned. Cena hoisted Gunther and delivered one final attitude adjustment, not as a nostalgic callback, but as a decisive act of competition. The referee's count was clean and uninterrupted. 1, 2, 3. No controversy followed, no excuses lingered. The simplicity of the finish gave it power. Cena didn't win because the story demanded a fairy tale ending. He won because the match told us he had just enough left. That distinction mattered. The restraint shown in the finish allowed emotion to surface naturally without being pushed or manipulated. It trusted the audience to feel, rather than be instructed. Respect without words. After the bell rang, the match could have easily ended, with a lengthy celebration or an emotional farewell speech. WWE chose a quieter, more meaningful path. The most important moment didn't involve a microphone or a pose on the turnbuckles. It came when Gunther stood up, faced Cena, and raised his hand. That single gesture communicated everything words could not. It acknowledged Cena's legacy without undercutting Gunther's credibility. It wasn't defeat. It was recognition. In professional wrestling, respect is often dramatized through attacks, betrayals, or loud declarations. This moment stood out because of its restraint. Gunther didn't look diminished. He looked confident enough in his own future to honor the past. Cena didn't look like a relic being preserved. He looked like a competitor being acknowledged. That exchange captured something rare in modern wrestling: continuity. One era didn't need to be torn down for another to rise. Instead, it was recognized, respected, and passed forward. The crowd reacted instinctively because they understood the significance immediately. They weren't being told what to feel. They were witnessing something authentic. What this match did for both men. For John Cena, this match served as closure without compromise. He didn't linger beyond his moment or rely on sentimentality to justify his presence. He proved that even at the end of a 26-year career, he could still perform at a level worthy of the main event. His legacy didn't need embellishment. It stood complete, defined not just by championships and accolades, but by consistency and connection. Cena left the ring on his own terms, having met the present head-on rather than avoiding it. Gunther, despite the loss, arguably gained just as much. In wrestling, defeat can be damaging when it feels unearned or dismissive. This was neither. Gunther wasn't protected through shortcuts, nor was he weakened by the outcome. He went toe-to-toe with one of the most important figures in WWE history and emerged with visible respect. That matters. The raised hand wasn't just symbolic. It positioned Gunther as a cornerstone of WWE's future. He didn't need the win to be validated. The performance and the respect did that work for him. This balance is something WWE has historically struggled to achieve. Too often, legends either overshadow the present or are dismissed too quickly. This match avoided both extremes. It elevated Cena without freezing him in time, and it elevated Gunther without sacrificing momentum. That equilibrium is rare, and it's why the match resonated so strongly.